Okay, everybody, I think. So I'll share the screen for the Shanti part. What are you seeing? I cannot see.
We are seeing the Shanti part. Om Shantani Purva Rupani.
You can see it. I don't know. It disappears from here. Okay. Wait 1 minute. Actually, I understand it. On my this thing, it will show whatever is on top. Okay. So Shanti part. Om Shantani Purva Rupani.
Om Shantani
Rupani
Shantam no astu krita kritam.
Shantam no krita kritam
Shantam bhutam cha bhavyam cha.
Shantam bhutam cha bhavyam cha
Sarvameva shanti shamastu naha.
Sarvameva shamastu naha.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Okay, so I'll stop the share now. So tell me any questions on the previous class? No, wonderful. Okay, so we'll do a recap. So the way we'll go about it is we'll do quarter verse recap. Okay, so for example, na sadasit, no sada, na sadasit, no sadasit, no sadasit. Oh. Okay, so who wants to take up this quarter?
So there was no, there was not a time when there was truth, and there wasn't a time when there was no untruth, something like that. Or it was there, it was not there.
Existence.
Anuj, I have not even done last minute studies. Folks, last minute studies is very bad. I'll work for you the whole week.
Yeah. No, there was not a time when there was no existence, nor was there that there was no existence.
No.
There was some existence.
I don't know why there is. Oh, you guys will have to, I think, mute it, and only the person who wants to speak should come on. I think that is why we are having an echo. So that is also not 100% accurate. Who wants to come on next?
Does it mean that nothing at all existed? Nothing was there.
Nothing was there, and then?
So, like no matter was there. It was all in a very primordial form, like that.
Yeah, but that is also incomplete little bit.
Tara, can I interrupt? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, okay, thank you.
But you have some background noise, I think. Anyway, so else wants to take it up to give just this meaning of the first quarter?
I don't know, word by word I cannot say, but I have the gist. I don't know which is first quarter, second quarter, sorry.
Okay. You want to give the whole verse, the gist of the whole verse, or what?
Yeah, no, I can just tell you what I have got from this that this whole thing is talking about a time pre-creation.
Mm-hmm.
And it says that this was a time when there was nothing and yet there was something. And the Brahman was there who existed by his own inner, I mean, and he was also not, he was conscious but not breathing in the sense like inhaling and exhaling. And there was matter which was inert, souls which were also, I mean, like non, what do you say, active.
Mm.
And the whole, this whole scenario, there was nothing covering it because there was nothing to cover. Yet the creator was there. And overall, there was this very dense fluid. I mean, what existed was a very dense fluid state. Okay, something like this.
Okay, you have covered the second mantra as well. Okay,
Oh,
let me go step by step. Na sadasit, na asat asit, na no sat asit. No is equal to na only. The same no that you have in English, same thing is na. But here I told you na stands for as if, like. So it is not to be taken as not, but it is to be read as if. So at and tadanim means at the beginning of the universe, before creation had started, there it was as if there was nothing and as if there was something. So it is indicating two things, two types of things. One existed as if it was nothing. That means it was non-functional, unconscious. So there were two things there, matter and souls. So matter was non-functional and souls were asleep. They were in a stupor. So they were unconscious. And there was this Sat, which was God. So firstly, don't understand this as truth or untruth. In fact, when you say truth in Sanskrit, Satya, that Satya has arisen from this Sat, which means to exist, which is a form of As Dhatu, Asti. Asti Stha Santi, so many of you know. So that is, this Sat is a form of that. And it means to exist. And so Satya is that which exists. So when we are stating facts, that is Satya. And because it exists. And when you are giving something imaginary, then that is Asatya because it does not exist. So the origin of Satya itself comes from existence and non-existence. So there was this souls and matter which were as if they did not exist because they were not operational. And there was God who was conscious. It was not as if he was asleep. He was conscious and therefore he was Sat. He was as if he was um, existing. Actually, all three were existing. So it is not as if the souls did not exist and matter did not exist and only God existed. That is not correct. Nasit na asit rajaha no vyomaha paroyat. Gauri, can you please
Okay.
mute yourself? Or let me mute you. Gauri, you need to mute yourself, please. Okay, you're muted. All right. So, na asit rajaha. At that time, particles, elementary particles did not exist. Na vyomaha. Vyoma means akash. So, even space, which you can say is the finest, the subtlest of material transforms. So what about particles? Even space did not exist, which is beyond the particles. Paro yat. Kim avarivaha. What covering was there? Avarana, you are aware of, is a covering. So Kim avarivaha, it is coming from there only, from avaran. So what was the covering? So the implication is there was no covering because there was nothing required to be covered. Uh, what is, you cover it when it is visible, when nothing is visible, when nothing is functional, then there is nothing to cover. Kuha kasya sharman. Kuha is a form of kutra. So where was the support? Sharman is the support. Where was the support of everything? And the other meaning of ka, that is God, that everywhere only the support of God existed. There was no other support which existed. So why are we saying support? Why does something need support? Because in this world, there is that story of where is this earth resting. So in mythology, including in ours and in Greek, etc., mythologies, they could not at some point um, grasp how something could exist without a support, because the gravitational force by which the earth is moving around the sun was not understood at that point in time. So they said that it is resting on a turtle, and the tortoise on something and something, and then there was an elephant below or something like that. So that question is also arising from here. Where was the support for these things? On what was it resting? What was the table on which it rested? So the answer is within it only. Kasya Sharman. It was God support which was there. Ambha kim asit gahanam gabhiram. What was that fluid which was there, which was gahan and gabhir, which was deep and thick, very dense? So that is the giving you an indication of matter existed in that form, where it was extremely dense and occupied no space. It was so dense, it was like a point. Then we move on to the next verse. Let me share the verses with you probably.
Uttara, my question was that Rajaha, has it got something to do with the Rajo Guna? Or no, this is a different term?
This is a different Raja.
Okay.
So Raja, see, it has the primary meaning actually of Raja is semen. Okay, so in Lokik Sanskrit, you will hear Raja being used as semen, because it is seen as the seed of everything. But when you go back in time in Sanskrit, you will understand that Raja does mean the seed of everything, as well as it means grains of sand, reta, for example. Reta is also a form of this only, so that is why even reta means both semen and sand. Okay, in Hindi, what you called ret. So here the meaning is fine particles. That is the elementary particles. All right.
Can I interject little bit here? So everything was in the dormant condition, is it?
Except God. So he was in the conscious state. So even though everything else was dormant, he was the only thing which was conscious and aware of everything. Okay.
And he was the one who was supporting that dense fluid liquid form.
Correct.
Also, okay.
And all the souls as well,
Both.
in their dormant state. Okay. Yes.
Did the God exist outside of all the matter as well?
Come closer to the mic, Anand. Come closer to the mic. Or speak loud.
Did God exist outside of all where all these souls and matter was, or with inside that only?
Inside and outside. He is
Okay.
always all pervasive. There is nothing, nothing can be there without God. So he was inside and outside these things. In fact, they were in a very small portion of him, as we will see today. All right. Sure.
Uttara,
Yeah.
see, I had noted during the class that this dense fluid-like matter
Mm-hmm.
is where God could plant the seeds of life. That is wrong or right?
Yeah, that was the second explanation, to which I don't ascribe, but it is probably I gave in the class also, but I put it in the notes as well. That he has taken it as that the waters in which the seeds of life could be planted did not exist at that point in time. But I do not ascribe to that explanation.
That was that Swami Brahma Muni's interpretation, right?
Yes.
So,
yes. So you are
there
at
was
liberty to take this. See, this is a way that has several meanings, and as I have told you, even though it may seem very simple, just 7 verses, but it is a very complex part, obviously, because it is describing the beginning of creation and even prior to that. And a lot of people have said lots of things. So you are welcome to pick up what speaks to you, but I will be in the first verse. I gave you a flavor of what other people have said for this, but henceforth I will mostly be covering what I agree with.
okay.
Because actually that ambha kim asit gahanam gabhiram, it does not refer to when you are giving the properties of Gahanam Kabira, then it does not refer to just ordinary water. So there's no point in talking about ordinary water at this point. All right. That is why I disagree here.
Okay.
Okay. So then next one. Na mrityu rasid. Amritam na tarhi. There was no death. And also there was no immortality. So this tari is also an indication. Tarihi means then, and typically it comes with if then, though it can be used just as an indicator for time as well. So here, if mrityu did not exist, mrityu can exist only when beings are there, right? So if there are no creatures at this point in time, how can there be death? Is that point clear?
So if they already told that the Atma are in dormant, are dormant, then why are they telling that there's neither death?
True. So it is just an expansion of what has been said to give you an idea of what also did not exist in a way. So valid question. Okay, so so it should be understood that this is actually to highlight to you that mrityu can happen only when beings exist. So when Raja does not exist and when Akash doesn't exist, so obviously beings are not there. So mrityu cannot exist, because for a person who does not know anything about it, see, all of us are coming with some knowledge which has been coming down to us from our forefathers, and that is why we understand some things internally. okay, without being aware of the fact that it is actually part of our tradition. But for a person, if you just wipe out all your knowledge and then you look at it, then you do have souls. So could the souls have died potentially? Was there a possibility that they could be dying? They could be a state of death among the souls as they were, even though they might be in a stupor. But people in coma also die. So similarly, could the souls have also had a state of death? So this mantra explains to you, no, there can be no death because there is no birth. So death requires birth. It cannot exist without birth. And the implication here is that the soul itself is immortal. So there was to have death for a soul, it has to be associated with the body, and the body only has death. The soul does not have death. So then the question arises, okay, so there was no soul, clear enough, no mrityu. Then what about amrita? Then there should be immortality, no? Then all the souls which are lying in that dormant state, should we not consider them as immortal? Because we said that the soul that is not associated with a body is a mukta soul. So if these souls are lying over there without a body, then obviously they are without any death. So we should call them amrita. So the mantra clarifies, no, there was no amrita then too, then either. Why? Because there is this set of souls which anyway did not deserve mukti, moksha. So they are just biding their time for the next creation in a comatose condition. Then there is that other set of souls which had attained moksha in this previous birth. So is there a possibility that those are also conscious, that those are also enjoying their mukti during this pralaya avastha, during this pralaya which is there? So the mantra clarifies that no, they were also in a stupor. For them, this time when the universe was dead, at that time, they were also in a stupor.
Thank you.
Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, thank you. But so this time when universe was getting created, that they are describing in these first two mantras, that was just for like one instant, correct?
This is actually before the universe has been created. So this is describing the state before the Big Bang.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is describing the singularity before the Big Bang.
So how long would this
What
Or
was
in
his
between
question?
creations, right? As well.
Sorry?
In between creations as well.
Yeah,
If you
okay.
consider
So let
that
me
it's cyclic.
explain that Srishti and Pralay again. So we have this concept of a Brahma Din, in which there is the day and there is the night. So the day is the time at which, during which Srishti, the universe exists. And there is the night during which time everything is in this state. That is called Pralay. So Srishti, Pralay, Brahma Din, Brahma Ratri. These are complementary words, paryayavachis. So these, when we are in the Brahmadin, when Srishti is there, this is describing the Brahma Ratri. This is the situation which is there during Pralay.
So, Uttaraji, the mortality and immortality here, it is only pertaining to the soul, because Brahman, we believe him to be existent forever. So the word immortality, immortal, we don't use towards the Brahman.
Yeah, so See, immortal is also with respect to death, right?
Correct. Mm.
So there is a difference between immortal and eternal. So the
Yeah.
soul is immortal and eternal. Okay?
Correct. Correct.
But we call it mortal when it gets associated with the body. Actually
Body.
speaking, if we are to be really, really 100% right, then only the body is mortal. The soul is actually not mortal, right?
Correct.
So here, when we are saying Amrita, then we are talking of the soul which is no longer associated with a body. That means it is a soul which has attained moksha. Moksha is also called Amrita. I
Correct.
think you know, right?
Yeah.
So this is that Amrit which is being talked about. That the state of the soul in which it cannot undergo death.
Yeah. Now got it cleared. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. Any other question is there?
So Brahmanatri is same duration.
No, I can't hear you. Anand, come close to the mic. Tell me. Anand?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Now is very clear. Yes.
So Brahma then is same as Brahmaratri?
No. It's completely different. Brahma
I mean-
Dina is equal to the time of when the universe exists. And
No, but I mean duration. So the duration is the same?
yes. Duration is exactly the same.
So why does it take so much time to set the universe back to proper state in pralaya? Why?
Well, that's a good question. It doesn't actually require so much time. There is nothing happening during that state. You can visualize it as God is taking rest at that time. Because all said and done, it takes up his energy to manage the universe and the karmas of so many beings, the infinite beings almost that exist in the universe. He has to manage which consequence, which result has to be given to which being. So he is always working hard at it, and this is his rest period. So actually nothing happens during this period.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay.
But then again, when the Brahmaratri happens, I'm sure there is no concept of the time also, right? So maybe we cannot equate it to a duration also.
You are absolutely right. That is the question I had since the beginning. I am told, I have not yet actually read it anywhere, but I am told that there are two times. So one is this universal time, this time which exists in this universe, and there is one absolute time which is there. So the time which exists in this universe follows Einstein's theory of relativity, and so it is relative. So somewhere it is fast, somewhere it is slow, and so on and so forth. So it need not be absolute, but there is an undercurrent of an absolute time which is there. And so what is being talked about here is the absolute time and not the relative time with which we are familiar.
Okay.
Yeah, good questions, everybody. Okay, so let us proceed. Na ratrya ahanaha asit praketaha. Nor were there praketaha, signs of ratrya, of ratri, or of day, ahana. You know, madhyan and etc., right? So ahana means day. So this is that day. So naha, it is that visarg as elided. So of the day. So there were no signs of night or day. So this again, to somebody who has studied a bit of astronomy today, understands that you cannot have night or day unless there is a sun and there is a revolving planet around it. Then only the night or day can exist. When everything is lying still in darkness, then obviously there is no Ratri and there is no day. The important thing is actually that there is no Ratri. Because I will tell you a little bit more in the next verse about this. It is further elaborated over there. But just note it over here that you could have called this night, right? Just as we are calling it Brahmaratri. So we could have easily called this night itself. So why is it being said that there was no sign of a night? Okay. Anitavatam, swadhayatadekam. Anit means breathing. Something was breathing without any air, avatam. Swadhayatadekam. That one existed by its own power. It did not need anything else to exist. Everything else needs his support. So always when you have supports, there has to be something which is supportless at the bottom of it. Moolam, mula bhavat, moolam. Something like that there was there, right, in the Sankhya Sutra. So like that only the final ashray has to be something which is anashray. Okay, so that one thing now is being brought out over here. Tad ekam swadhaya, by its own dharana shakti, by its own capability to bring itself, to hold itself. That being existed, that God existed, and he was breathing without air. This is now a metaphorical way of saying that he was conscious. So the breath of life we always associate with prana, that means with consciousness. So he was conscious, but he did not need any air, of course, because if he needed air, then he would be dead. There was no air. Tasmat ha anyat na parah kinchana asa. So other than him, there was nothing. Okay, so here that meaning which I gave earlier, which is not entirely my own, but which is based on Shatpat Brahman. So that is further corroborated over here, because just now we said that Asat was also there. So here again it is being treated as nothing was there. So that nothing does not mean absolute nothing. It just means that the other things, the other two things, the souls and matter which existed, were actually not in a form in which they function. Okay, both of them were lying as if in a stupor. That is why they are being treated as nothing. Okay.
So here again, by stating probably there is no air also, is
No, it is not
this
stated that there is no air. Anitavatam. He breathed without air. So that is an implication. When in the previous mantra it has been said there was no reta and there was no vyoma even.
correct.
Then,
So this is the emphasis of this is pre-existence of the 5 elements era. Or
no, the emphasis is that this ek, this one, Paramatman, was conscious without
on his
own, without breathing air.
correct.
That is the implication here. That is the focus here. Okay, because again, if somebody drops in from Mars and starts reading Nasadiya Sukta, and they will say, okay, so if this one being was conscious, then what was he breathing? So this mantra is saying that this one being exists without the support of any material object. It does not need even air to be conscious.
Putra,
Yeah.
As far as our Earth is concerned, yeah, we know the atmosphere is there, everything is there, air is there and all. But other universe and all, we just don't know. There are multiple millions of universe are there. So what is happening there, we just don't know. So with reference to the Earth only, we are able to talk about this thing.
Correct. So this is for you who have your reference frame. So for your reference frame, just in case you are not able to think out of it, this mantra